President-elect Donald Trump recently held his first press conference since being elected President of the United States. And while the press conference lasted more than an hour, the most memorable minute of this press conference was when Donald Trump went toe-to-toe with a CNN reporter and proceeded to wreck this guy, telling him that he is fake news. Now, a lot of people have said, oh, this is just another example of Donald Trump acting like a child. When really, when you go back and you look at it again, you read the transcript, you realize that the president-elect wasn't acting like a child at all. What he was doing was he was employing a very adult strategy, a very proven strategy that will work every time when someone is challenging your right to run a room. Now, I watch the Charisma on Command channel a lot, and this may sound like some of their videos, which I think are great. I'm just going to dabble a little bit in rhetorical analysis and going into the strategy that the president-elect used in order to regain his right to run the room when that right was being challenged. Because at the president-elect's press conference, nobody would dispute that the president-elect has the ability to decide who gets to speak and who doesn't, who gets to ask a question and who doesn't. So as far as this goes, after a question was answered, after he talked about BuzzFeed and all of that kind of stuff, a CNN reporter said, "Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question, Mr. President-elect?" The president-elect turns to someone else. He says, "Go ahead." The reporter from CNN says again, "Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking our news organization." The president-elect says, "Not you. Can you give us a chance? Your organization is terrible. You're attacking our news organization. Can you give us a chance to ask a question, sir? Can you?" Quiet. Now, here's the thing. There's been an introductory exchange, which sometimes happens. The first thing that you do in this situation is you make your expectations clear. And so in telling this person to be quiet, President-elect Trump made his expectations abundantly clear that he was not going to continue to tolerate this disruption, all right, which is the sort of thing that I have to do sometimes as a teacher, make my expectations clear. Mr. President-elect, can you say? He's asking a question. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. Now, two things have happened here where he says, first of all, don't be rude. He is letting the person know not only are you doing what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to talk. I want you to be quiet. But what you're doing is inappropriate. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. Now, President-elect Trump uses this strategy a lot. He repeated himself. So far what he's done is he's made his expectations clear. He has let the person know that his behavior is inappropriate, and then he is repeating himself. And so the person keeps on and asks for a question again. And he says, "Don't be rude. No, I am not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question. So once again, your behavior is inappropriate. I'm not going to give you a question, and I'm going to repeat myself." And finally, here is where the president-elect let the hammer drop and just wrecked this guy, because this is what you have to do. And he said, "You are fake news." And then he turns to the other reporter. He says, "Go ahead." Now, at that point, this reporter had nothing else to say, because he had been humiliated, embarrassed, wrecked. People were laughing in the room. He had caught the person off guard, because fake news is something that's often used to describe outlets that are pro-Trump, usually not CNN. He says, "You are fake news." He shocked the guy, embarrassed the guy, insulted the guy, but only after he had tried to go the professional route. Because when it comes down to it, if you continue to let that person question your authority to run the room, you are going to lose the authority to run the room. So if you want to make sure that when you have the authority to run the room and that authority is challenged, if you want to restore that authority, you have to first make your expectations clear. Then you need to let the person know, if it continues, that their behavior is inappropriate. After that, then you repeat yourself just to make sure that everything's clear. And if none of that works, you have to wreck the person who is challenging your authority to run the room. And if you can do that right, then you will never lose the authority to run the room. Hope you enjoyed that. If you're not subscribed, be sure to do that at Tom Ritchie on Twitter, Instagram, all of that kind of stuff. I'll be back with more videos soon, including trademark history lectures and the like. It's always a pleasure.